The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of Digi-all. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to Digi-all Tech News. Today is November 25th, 2025. I'm Kylie Brooks, and wow, do we have some fascinating stories for you today. We're talking major AI breakthroughs, a rare peek behind the curtain with two tech visionaries, some corporate drama, and even a bit of geopolitical tension. Let's dive in. First up, Anthropic just dropped Claude Opus 4.5, and they're calling it their most intelligent AI model yet. This thing is crushing it in real-world coding tasks and can actually think through complex problems without hand-holding. Next, Sam Altman and Jony Ive sat down for a rare conversation about their secret collaboration. They're building AI devices that they hope will be nothing like the attention-grabbing chaos of current tech. Think peaceful cabin by a lake, not Times Square. Then, OpenAI is in hot water over the word Cameo in Sora. A federal judge just issued a temporary restraining order, and this trademark fight could shape how AI companies name their features. Also, AWS's infrastructure is way bigger than anyone realized. We're talking over 900 data centers in more than 50 countries. That's not just tech news, that's reshaping local economies and power grids. And finally, Chinese researchers just published a study showing how they could jam Starlink satellites over Taiwan, using nearly 1,000 aerial jammers. This is the kind of research that makes geopolitical tensions very real. Let's start with Anthropic's big announcement. Claude Opus 4.5 is now available across their API and major cloud platforms, and the pricing is actually pretty competitive at $5 per $1 million input tokens and $25 for output. But here's what's really interesting. This model is dominating on SOWE Bench Verified, which tests real-world software engineering tasks. We're not talking about theoretical benchmarks here. This is about fixing actual bugs, handling ambiguous requirements, and reasoning through complex trade-offs without developers needing to spell everything out. What's fascinating is that Anthropic also rolled out advanced tool use features for developers. They've solved the context bloat problem where loading massive tool libraries would eat up over 50,000 tokens. Now, AI agents can search and load only the 3 to 5 tools they actually need, starting with just 500 tokens. That's an 85% reduction in context usage and a huge accuracy boost. Plus, there's this new programmatic tool calling feature that lets agents write and execute Python code to orchestrate multiple tools in parallel. For complex workflows, this cuts token usage by 37% and dramatically reduces latency. These aren't just incremental improvements. This is the kind of infrastructure that makes AI agents practical for real production systems. Now let's talk about that Sam Altman and Jony Ive conversation, because it was genuinely revealing. These two met 2 years ago and discovered they were asking the same questions about design, intelligence, and how technology should fit into human life. The result? A company called I.O. And what they're building sounds like nothing we've seen before. Sam described current devices as feeling like walking through Times Square. Constant notifications, flashing lights, dopamine chasing, tension everywhere. And he's right, isn't he? We're all living with this constant digital assault on our attention. But with AI that's smart enough to truly understand context, filter information intelligently, and know when to present something or stay quiet, you could build devices that feel completely different. Sam's vision? Sitting in a peaceful cabin by a lake in the mountains. Technology that fades into the background until you actually need it. What I love about their process is how much time they spent not building a product. Before anyone even thought about what this device would look like, Jony's team did months of research exploring the nature of relationships, intelligence, human use of tools throughout history, values, and human rights. That's not how most tech companies work. Most startups would already be shipping version 2 by now. But Jony said something really striking. When you don't know what you're doing, the problems are obvious. but the solution requires a huge leap of intuitive faith. And he's learned to love that uncomfortable place of not knowing. So when are we going to see these devices? Sam hinted at much sooner than 5 years, maybe even less than 2. And Johnny mentioned something that stuck with me. He said they'll know the design is right when you want to lick it or take a bite out of it. That playfulness, that sense of joy and whimsy, that's been missing from tech for a while now. If they can pull this off and create AI devices that bring back some of that delight while also being peaceful and contextually aware, that would be something truly special. Moving to our legal drama, OpenAI can no longer use the term Cameo in Sora. A federal judge issued a temporary restraining order yesterday that blocks OpenAI from using Cameo, Cameo, or Cameo Video until December 22nd. This comes from a lawsuit filed in October by the actual Cameo app. You know, the one where you can buy personalized videos from celebrities. Their CEO, Steven Galanis, says they tried to resolve this amicably, but OpenAI refused to stop using the name. The Cameo feature in Sora lets users upload their likeness so others can incorporate it into AI-generated videos. There's a hearing scheduled for December 19th to decide if this becomes permanent. This is a good reminder that even AI giants have to respect trademark law. You can't just grab any name you want, no matter how much compute power you have. Here's something that really surprised me. AWS's infrastructure is absolutely massive in ways most people don't realize. According to internal documents reviewed by Bloomberg and source material, AWS operates more than 900 data center facilities across over 50 countries. 900! We all knew about the big Northern Virginia campus and those sprawling Oregon facilities, but this is an entirely different scale. These aren't just financial assets. They're influencing electrical grids, water systems, zoning decisions, and regional economies everywhere they exist. In the US alone, 5 states account for 72% of new data centers in high-stress areas. And here's the competitive angle. While Microsoft and Google are investing billions in building massive visible campuses, AWS's co-location strategy lets them add capacity quietly and flexibly. That's a huge strategic advantage. This story shows us that cloud computing and AI aren't abstract. They're physical infrastructure woven into geography and local communities in ways we're only beginning to understand. And our final story takes us into geopolitical territory. Researchers from Zhejiang University and Beijing Institute of Technology just published a study in Systems Engineering and Electronics showing how China could theoretically jam Starlink over Taiwan. Why does this matter? Because we saw in Ukraine how critical Starlink became for military communications and drone operations when Russia invaded. If China were to invade Taiwan, they'd want to neutralize that advantage. The study proposes deploying nearly 1,000 aerial jammers using drones, balloons, or aircraft at 20 kilometers altitude, spaced 5 to 9 kilometers apart. These would create a massive barrier blocking the signal hopping between satellites that makes Starlink so resilient. Each jammer would suppress about 38.5 square kilometers, and you'd need at least 935 units to cover Taiwan's 36,000 square kilometers. The researchers admit they need real measurements of Starlink terminal radiation patterns for more accurate results, but the simulation shows satellites struggling to maintain usable signals. This isn't a theoretical exercise. This is military research preparing for real-world scenarios. It's a reminder that our increasingly connected world has some very tangible vulnerabilities. So there you have it. AI models getting genuinely smarter and more practical for developers. A glimpse into what might be the next generation of personal devices, corporate battles over naming rights, infrastructure operating at a scale we rarely see, and military strategists thinking about how to counter satellite networks. It's a lot to process, and these stories are still developing. We'll keep following them and bring you updates as they unfold. Thank you for staying informed with Digi-all Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.